What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. Hopefully, everyone is having a nice day today and enjoying your weekend so far. It is time for the Sunday edition of the Climate Update. First thing we're going to take a look at today is we are going to revisit yesterday's severe weather. And we take a look here at the storm reports from the Storm Prediction Center, and we see there were a total of 701 reports yesterday, with 4 potential tornado reports, 681 wind reports, 8 high wind reports, 16 hail reports, and 0 large hail reports yesterday. So yesterday was a really active day. The Baltimore, D.C. metro areas really got hit hard yesterday. Look at how many blue wind dots there are in that area. There were a lot of wind reports there. There were reports of power outages, trees down. Then there was also this area across Missouri, Illinois, even in Kentucky. That got hit pretty hard as well. And down in southern Virginia and North Carolina. Taking a look at the satellite picture for today, it's a much quieter story today, which is some good news. We do have some thunderstorm concerns in the North Plains. I'll show you that in a minute. And of course, the heat continues in the southeast. Look at this here. The heat is just really bubbling up. It's going to be very hot in the south. Some records could get broken. So yes, the heat advisories and heat warnings continue. You do not see them, however, in the northeast anymore. And on the west coast, there's still a few. It's not as active as it has been. Take a look at the radar picture. Even Florida, not terribly active today. You will see potentially some showers in the northern portion of the state, and you will see some showers bubble up in the southern portion of the state, but not as wet as it has been. Here's that system, that big ball of a mess, which still could potentially become a named tropical system in the Atlantic. Yes, it's possible. Modeling does show that. And here you can see in the Dakotas, there is currently a complex of thunderstorms moving southeast. That's not actually the one we're concerned about for later on. Taking a look at air qualities for today, not all that bad. Actually quite refreshing in the northeast today. The skies are actually blue. We do have some minor concerns in the southeast and some concerns in the west, but the majority of the country is doing much better than it has been doing as of lately. Taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center, so far for today's storm reports, there are some hail reports up in the North Plains. And speaking of the North Plains, we do have an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms that goes this evening in the Black Hills region and vicinity, and surrounding that there is a large slight risk. You can see there are some minor tornado probabilities, 30% wind probabilities, and there is even a hail probability, and there's also a hatched area for hail. I think hail is going to be the biggest threat for today. Beyond today, look at this. Not terribly active. We do have some marginal risk areas, and some of these could maybe get a slight risk added. In between, we have one from Louisiana on up through into Missouri, another in the plains again, one on the southeast coast, and one down in Arizona. Day 3, no marginal risk at this time, but we'll have to watch and see how that unfolds. Taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center, not a lot to talk about for a change. We do have this slight risk in Colorado on for Tuesday, and this is the slight risk of excessive rainfall. But other than that, it is not going to be as active, at least in the next 2 to 3 days. As we get later into the week, that's when things start to get interesting once again. Taking a look at the Hurricane Center, you can see you still have this disturbance, which is 70% at AL96, they're calling it. And then you have this system that's coming off the southeast coast, and some models do develop this into an organized low. I'll show you that in a moment. Infrared satellite, you can see here. This system, it is more organized. Wouldn't surprise me if it's our next named system out here in the Atlantic. It's not going to impact the United States. And then here's that ball of a mess that's along the cold front that just passed through yesterday in the northeast. It's off the North Carolina coast now. Taking a look at the HRRR model for this afternoon, you will see there it goes. It does develop, even on the HRRR model. And look what happens in the northern plains, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota. You do get clusters of thunderstorms this evening, and I do think there's a hail threat. And yes, there could be a few tornado warnings with these supercells as well. Let's move on to the CMC. Here's the latest CMC, and look what the CMC does. Also, again, a developed low out in the Atlantic. The 0Z European from last night was showing this as well. So we'll have to see if it actually gets named. Maybe a subtropical system, or maybe it'll just be an organized low and does not get named. Let's advance the CMC later into the week. Look here in Kentucky. I'm interested in this. I think this could be another heavy rainfall threat there. And look here in West Virginia on Thursday. We have to watch this next system. This system's going to have moisture. It's one to watch from anywhere from the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, on up through the Northeast. It is the next potential threat for flash flooding. It's not going to be all that fast moving of a system. You can see that on Thursday, thunderstorms do evolve with this system, but watch. And we can even back rewind this a little bit further. Chicago is a threat maybe just south of you on Wednesday night into Thursday, but watch. It takes all the way until Saturday for this system to finally clear. So Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday morning. We'll have to watch and see if there's a flash flood threat and a severe thunderstorm threat that evolves with this. Beyond that point, there's another slow moving system. And I think that's going to be the theme as we head into after the first week of August, maybe into the first full week of August, like beyond this week and the following week. We're going to see these slow movers like this one right here. Look at this. Comes over to the Great Lakes region and it takes its good old time. This disturbance down here, now we're at 240 hours out. That's pretty far out. It'll likely be different the next run, but the point I'm trying to make is it's not moving all that fast. So while we're getting a break from the flash floods in the east right now, I do think it's definitely coming back. And the 1 through 7 day from the Weather Prediction Center, it already starts to resemble that a weather pattern is going to return. I'll show you that in just a moment. I do want to show you the latest temperatures. Let's use the European for that. And we have to go back to the 0Z European. I know the 12Z is coming in as we're doing this, but I do want you to see these temperatures on the European, because watch what happens. Now, I fast forwarded all the way to Thursday, and to be honest with you, even on Thursday now, it's not that bad in the Northeast. The South is still hot. I think El Paso, Texas, I think you might finally break your streak. I'm pretty sure El Paso, Texas National Weather Service will put a tweet out when the streak is broken. We'll be looking for that. I think you might break your 100 streak this week, so we'll have to see how that plays out. And you can see here, even on Friday in the Northeast, not that bad. You're not even seeing 90s. But what we are seeing here is we're seeing this pocket of cooler weather. And let's just take a look here. See, the European also has this slow-moving system. So during the time that comes, yes, the humidity is going to go up, but you are going to see temperatures get maxed out, maybe in the low 80s, because there's going to be a lot of precipitation. And the European from last night, it even shows this as well, that other system that I just showed you on the Canadian. There's going to be a lot of slow-moving systems going forward. So in the Northeast, I think temperatures will stay below average. The heat will remain in the South, but it's not going to be as extreme. I think if you're talking anything extreme, it's going to be confined to Arizona, New Mexico. While you may break that streak in El Paso, I think it's going to be short-lived. It's not going to be all that noticeable. It's probably going to come back again. You may even start another streak. Will it be as long? No, but it's going to get very hot there again. And look at California. California is going to get hot as well. But east of the Mississippi, finally a little bit of relief does come into play. I mean, even in the southeast, it's still going to be hot, just not as hot. And unfortunately, any southwest flow that does set up will tap into some moisture from the Gulf and some moisture from the Atlantic. And again, I'm really concerned about the flooding threat. August is going to be a very wet month in the mid-Atlantic, portions of the Great Lakes and the Northeast. We could have more big flooding events going forward. This is what I'm seeing now on the modeling. When I look at the ensembles off camera, signs just point to me that it's not going to be all that fast of a pattern. We'll take a look at the NAO charts later on this week in our updates to kind of prepare you a little bit more for what I'm seeing coming, because again, I think flooding events are going to return. And let's just get to this. Yeah, look at this. We do have several areas that are going to be super wet. One being over Kentucky, Tennessee Valley, West Virginia, portions of North Carolina. You do see it on the days 1 through 7 time frame. You're seeing a general widespread 1 to 3 inches with even 4-inch plus amount areas. And look at the Northeast. A lot of this is from late week. 1 to 3 inch rainfall amounts. Localized 3 plus, even 4-inch amounts are showing up. So, flooding is going to be a concern once again in the Northeast. And look at this, in the Northern Plains and Rocky Mountains regions. Yes, very wet conditions there. So we have to concern ourselves about flooding in the mountainous regions and potentially road washouts. There's a lot to be concerned about here. And Florida, this may look wet. It's just your general afternoon summertime thunderstorm activity. And unfortunately, I would love to be saying Texas is going to get wet. It's not. It's going to be almost bone dry in Texas. Not something we like to see because there is the ongoing drought there. Take a look here. It's dry in Texas. The southern portions of Texas, it's going to get much worse. And taking a look at the drought map, I think we're going to wipe away all these drought concerns in the Northeast. Any lingering ones with this new pattern that's going to set up, that's going to be lower temperatures, but more humid, or eventually more humid and more wet. I think we're going to finally break through whatever's left of drought concerns in the Northeast. Alrighty, folks, that does it for today's weather update. We'll take a look at the 6 to 10 day stuff and all that again tomorrow. It hasn't updated yet for today from yesterday, but you kind of get the idea. Dry in Texas, slight improvement in the heat in the south, and yeah, I'm calling for another big wet pattern again in the Northeast for the month of August. We'll see how that plays out. We'll be tracking it every day. Check back again tomorrow for another update. If you like this content, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you know anyone that would enjoy seeing this content, by all means, share this with them. Have a great Sunday afternoon, and if the weather's nice where you are, get out and enjoy it. Take care. See you all again next time. Thanks for watching.